My name is Aisha S1. I am a first-generation Pakistani Canadian, a single mom of 3 kids, and a recent university grad. Between my medical challenges, trying to start a new career, and welcoming my mother into my home, I have spent a lot of time navigating the ups and downs of life. It is through the vulnerable conversations I have had with my friends and family that I've come to realize the importance of compassion to get through life's challenges. I invite you to join the conversation, laugh with us, share with us, and realize the one truth that unites us. We may think we are alone in our struggles, but together, one conversation leads to the next. And this is where we find hope, humor, and healing on the Gen Xperience with Aisha. So today we're talking about career and retirement. And in some of the research that I have done, it states that Gen X has the highest return or highest rate of turnover in terms of changing your careers again and again and again. And I think the question that I thought, I mean, they had different reasons in the article, but I thought myself, you know, I've done retail and I went to beauty school and I worked at Holt Renfrew, and then all of a sudden decided I was going to go back to university. So I myself have changed multiple times, but I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on your career paths and what careers you changed, and why did you make that choice?
Rupert, you're on the air.
Go ahead.
I haven't really changed many careers. I've been with my job for the last 20 years. I know that's quite unusual in these days for people to stay, but I'm a lifer there. So, yeah, it's just circumstances and the job. It just has worked for me, so I've been happy. So I'm still there. So it doesn't really apply to me, the changing careers.
But it's a different perspective though, because that's
Yes.
pretty, I don't know, I mean, I'll say impressive, because you enjoy your career so much that you have stuck to it, and you've changed with it. And there definitely is an advantage to being someplace and seeing the changes and growing with the changes and having that seniority, as opposed to, the thing like other people changing their careers. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she should leave, but that's just me.
And how many careers have you changed, Josh?
I don't know. I mean, really, I had one for 20, but in that, I do lots of changes through that one. So I was restaurants for 20 years, but I didn't have the same job in the restaurant industry for 20. I started as a bartender and server, and then managing, and then working your way through, and then running a restaurant, to running multiple restaurants, to owning your own. So I guess you would call it the same career, but I mean, I never felt like I wasn't at a desk doing the same thing for 20 years. And then only recently, I guess in the last 3 years, I switched full time into film, and that's been great. I had a little background, my degrees in theater and music, and I always kind of dabbled a bit in film and had friends in film, but with COVID and restauranting, I was dying. I literally could feel my soul leaving me near the end, and I wasn't doing well at the job anymore, and I kept hanging on to this job because that was all I knew how to do, and I had gotten myself to a level that had a certain amount of money attached to it. So how do you go back to start somewhere new? And that became a very, very difficult, that was a big choice. Look, I'm on a path. Can I keep talking to you?
Please, yeah.
So I'll tell you, I remember making the decision, because I'd always tried to leave the restaurants, but you can't leave it if you're a VP of a restaurant, like you're doing decent. I'm not saying you're making gangbuster money, but you have a lifestyle you become accustomed to. So I was going to go back, and my first film job was 6 months away, and I didn't have a job. And it was, and the money I was going to make was like $250 a day, let's say, and it was a 12, 14-hour day. It was this, and that was way different than what I was doing. And Jason, my friend and now boss, he asked me the question, like, are you committed to do this? And at that time, he was at my place, and I walked out and I had 2 skip the dish bags, because I was going to do whatever I needed to do to make the transition. And if I needed to deliver food, I was going to deliver food. I mean, I drove Uber during that time. I I worked. I found stuff on Marketplace and then sold it. I did whatever because I just knew that I finally had to make this leap out of this career that was honestly killing me. And I guess it's easy for me to look back at it now and say that this has been one of the better decisions I've made out of a myriad of decisions. So this is one of the better ones. But yeah, so I guess that's it.
But with your new project, it sounds like you're marrying both of those, your amazing ability to cook and then your ability to be on camera as well, and bring those two together.
Well, that's been the thing. But if you don't do the hard part and make that big jump and make that leap, you never have a chance to try something there. So like something that's really going to light you up.
Yeah.
I was staying in something because it was stable and it was good and but it wasn't great. And I mean, there's books on it, but I mean, what's the one? It's good is the enemy of great. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I wanted to make my life great, or at least put myself in control for once. And you start doing things, and then the world starts showing you that you're on the right path. Yeah. And then that path leads to the next one, and the next thing you know, some of the things that you were really going for and what you're good at started aligning, and here I am.
Here you are.
Yeah.
Rena, you were in medicine, right? And then you all of a sudden switched to running one of the most popular boutiques here in Calgary. How did you kind of change from one extreme, I would say, to the other?
Life happened.
Yeah.
Yes, just circumstances. Yeah. It just wasn't meant to be. I've always wanted to help people. I've always wanted to do medicine. It was also my parents being, oh, you should be a doctor or engineer. That's how we were brought up.
Yeah.
But yeah, life just happened and I wasn't meant to finish. I just wasn't meant to. And it was easy for me to join the family business, and now I'm just creating my own niche in that family business. And hopefully, I admire you for you to do what you did. I would love to do that. I just don't have the courage to do what you did. I would love to start my dream is to start my own fashion line, or that's my ultimate dream, but I don't have the courage yet to do it.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's courage. For me, I don't think it was courage. It was a necessity. I was literally, that was the lowest point in my life. And I when I saw that side of, I'm like, I either got to figure out a way to do something that lights me up, or else maybe I'm not long for this world. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of got to a crux in a position where I had to make a change, or I was going to go, but courage-wise, I think you just gotta start, and next thing you know, it'll start to balloon, and you're going to start to feel it go.
But then you have I have responsibilities with my children and my husband, and then I work in a family business, so I'm always in an internal conflict. If I leave and I do something, I'll basically be in direct competition with my family business. So that's a thing that I have to figure out, and hopefully my path,
navigate.
It will all work out. It's getting better, way better now. My situation is, I'm not going to complain. I'm pretty happy. But again, working with family is not easy. So we'll see what happens. I'm very lucky where I am, and I'm not going to complain. I left medicine. It was very hard for my parents to accept that, but it was not on me. It was just life happened, and I wasn't able to finish. And now I know why. It just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't written for me. So this is my path, and I'm still helping people in a different way and make people feel good about themselves, whether they're size 0 or size 50. And they come to me because I love to make people feel good. So that gives me the ultimate joy. I don't care about money. Just making people feel good gives me satisfaction. So,
Love that.
Yeah. Right now, let's see what happens. But right now, I'm good.
I guess my parents also had, my dad. My dad started a business. Similar, I can relate to what you're saying there. So my dad started this business creating Persian carpets. So started off a very small operation out of the basement kind of thing. And they had some really good success. They had several stores across the country, in England, in the States, Canada. Things were going good. Not really my thing, but I remember from my youngest age, that I can remember, I was integrated into that. I don't know if I really liked it, but I knew that that was my end. The challenge with that is I knew that's where I was going, whether I liked it or not. So I didn't take school the first time at all seriously. I saw people studying and applying for university. And I said, that doesn't really relate to me because I know where I'm supposed to go, whether I liked it or not. And I didn't. I wish I could just be cut loose and just explore where my mind takes me or whatnot, but that wasn't the case. So we were integrated into that business, and then life happens, people passed away, business dissolved. So here I am, not in the family business anymore. So I went through many stages. I left home, like I said before, a couple of days ago on that show. I was about 19 or so. And
Good cover.
I actually lived in a forest, flat out. I was homeless for 5-6 months. I lived in a tent and I lived in a forest. I was totally cool with that. I had a suitcase, I had a couple possessions, I had a pot. And it was a golf course in Ontario. It was a really big golf course, so no one ever suspected the woodsman coming out of the woods. So that's where 5-6 months of my life went. And then I got a job. I was at Eastside Mario's, making pasta. I loved it. It was my first job. I had returned back to the tent. At one point, I got enough dough. I moved out of the forest and got myself a 1-bedroom apartment. And then I got laid off at the restaurant when I was waiting for somebody to pick me up. It was like 6-7 days into the restaurant career. And I got laid off. I was waiting for somebody to come pick me up. And I was flipping through the paper and there was a car dealership looking for somebody. I ran home, put on my finest suit, brushed the caterpillars of the leaves off it, went down for this interview, I got the job. All of a sudden I started rolling a little bit better money, but that's kind of been my course. Not really settling anywhere, but just trying to survive. And then I think it was in the year 2000, I've been an outdoorsy guy forever. I fish and hunt. And I came up with an idea of a fishing lure. And it was just in spare time. It was just killing time, to be honest with you. It was just killing time. And I came up with this idea. And I'm like, holy, that's a really good idea. And I held that idea for a long time. I worked at dealerships, worked here, there. And then inside me, I said, one day I'm going to see a commercial and there's going to be this concept on television. And that was really bugging me. So I rolled the dice and I started to progress that way. I refined my product. I went on the internet. So where the hell am I going to make this thing, right? I hear China is where they make all this stuff. So I Googled some stuff and there was one lead that I got there saying that this certain city in China was the hub of lure making. I'm like, that's where I got to go. So I bought a plane ticket and off to China I went with this lure in my hand that I carved myself. I found a manufacturer to start creating that product. And the product was wonderfully successful. I started making fishing lures. So got we're in stores and stuff like that. I never expected any of that. It just kind of happened. And I don't think it's okay, I'm gonna work so hard and you're going, nah, I did and I didn't, right? There's some luck involved. There's fate, there's family, there's other elements involved. Taking that first step to go and do something like that. I don't speak Chinese or anything. I've been there 8 times now, back and forth, trying to figure different products out and stuff like that, but pretty cool. So I guess I make lures now. Do I see when I started doing that, I said, oh, I'm never gonna part from this. But you know what? You don't become emotional about these things it's a financial decision when you're in a business. So if you have to part with it, you have to part with it at the right time. You're not supposed to be emotional. I guess I'm still learning these things and whatnot. And I'm pretty close here in the next few months, 4 or 5 months, I should be launching a second product. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But I can't put my finger on anything and say, oh, it's because of this or it's because of that, it's because of that. Like you wouldn't give me a hope in hell, if you saw 30 years ago where I was at. So,
And not a lot of people get to say, and then I moved out of the forest.
yes. Man, I collected 4 or 5 welfare checks.
Yeah.
I was on welfare as well. Like there was no dough, there was no nothing. I just made the decision to go. I had no plan. So if any of you young folks are planning on busting out of the house, maybe think about it a little bit more.
Or do you want to live in a forest?
Me when you get down there, but
Glamorous as that
yeah, but that's the fact. That's my story.
amazing.
I'm not ashamed of it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with being homeless or anything like that. That's their story, right? And everybody has a story. So certain things drive some people, certain things drive other people. Your life circumstances push you on. I don't know what tomorrow may bring or may not bring, but that is my story. I found that I can make stuff. And I am not intimidated by taking a idea, whatever idea may be, and bringing it to production, which seems very daunting, but the path just rolled for me and I must say there were many angels along the way that I don't know where these people came from, but
That lets you know that you were on the right path.
they
You
were
doing the thing you're supposed to be
instrumental.
doing,
They were
yeah.
instrumental in this. Like, man, I didn't ask for them or even know who they were.
Was I an angel?
Can somebody get a glass of water? Clear.
I was not an angel in your path then, I guess. Okay. We'll keep going then, I guess it's okay. All right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there's no.
Still waiting for the accolades here. No, okay.
There's no playbook I can give to my kids. Say, hey, go run away from home, be homeless, live in a forest. I shoveled dog for I don't know how long. That was one of my first jobs in an animal rescue mission. I'd start in the morning and shoveling. It was like 30 cages or something. When you got to the 30th cage, that was the end of the day. So you're just picking up soiled newspapers and stuff, and that's what it was for $150 a week. I remember that. And I was jacked on payday, like woohoo, $150. Like, mind you, that was 30 years ago. $150. It was like $200 today. So still not that much, but you adapt. I think you just adapt to your circumstance. A lot of people say, "Oh, I could never do that," or "I never do." No, you don't know what you can do until the weight of the world is on you. You just don't know.
Or survival.
Or survival, yeah.
Chico?
I started off in sales and marketing. My first degree was in sales and marketing. So after doing that for about 2 years, I didn't like it. You know, if you're going to sell something, you have to bend the truth many times to convince people to buy. And I'm just not that person. So I left that job and I decided I'm very creative. I decided to go into interior design. I loved that. I enjoyed that. But I lived in a country that was going down really fast. People needed to eat, not to decorate their homes. So I also did, with interior design, I also did real estate. So I was selling homes and designing and I owned Chico's was the name of my shop. I used to make soft furnishings.
Where'd you get the name from?
I really don't know. Yeah, I used to make soft furnishings and I enjoyed creating stuff. That's Josh for you.
Holster that, buddy.
And yes, I enjoyed that, but a lot of things were happening. Life was happening. I had 2 little kids below the age of 4, and my marriage was not going anywhere. And I decided that, and also the economy in the country I was living in was just going downhill real fast. And I decided I wanted to get a job, or I wanted to get into a career that was going to make me marketable anywhere in the world. And one day I just said this at a wedding to somebody, just those words. And she said, look into SAP consulting. And
You said, what is that?
and exactly, I looked into it. It's a very expensive course that you have to do. It's very expensive. There was no way I was ever going to afford it. Then my father passed away, 2004, and he left me quite a good amount of money. I took all that money, paid for that academy, finished that academy, and I got into SAP. I have been there for the past 17 years.
Wonderful.
And happy?
Oh, yes. I love my job. I love my job. You never get the same thing every day. You're always challenging yourself. Yes, I have got a lot of gray hair from it because there are times when I can't sleep because also I don't know, I have to solve a problem. And in consulting, as the term says, you've got, this company has this challenge, you have to solve this problem, and it will take years off you, but I love it. The joy at the end of the line, when you've finished this implementation and they are all shaking your heads as if you're geniuses, love it. So yeah.
I have a side gig for you. You should like do voiceover work. Your voice is like, you're sitting there talking, I'm like, I would listen to you read me the dictionary.
You know, I am looking for a side gig. So
this is
there
your
you
side
go.
gig, yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
I needed you.
You do that, because I do a lot of audiobooks, and you're always like that, but I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to that. Bring me the,
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look into that, definitely.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the story of my career.
That's lovely. And do you guys think, like, anybody can answer this, do you think that your 20-year-old self would be proud of who you are today and where you are today,
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at that?
Oh yeah, Chico, 20 years, she would be like, yes, girl,
Right.
you did it.
I
Yeah.
think mine would be disappointed.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, I was supposed to be an actor, like that was what I was supposed to be.
But isn't that where you're going right now?
Yeah, but
Or have
I
done?
was supposed to be, I should be way bigger time than I am now. I mean, like at the time, like
You still have time,
I
Josh.
know I do, but I took an easy way out early in my life and didn't try. So how I got in restaurants is I was serving tables and acting in the city. Finished college, doing a little university, getting a degree, and I was doing theater productions here in Calgary. And I get a job, you know, waiting tables while I'm acting, like you do. And I met, it was about 2 years after I was done school, and I met the best third year of when I was a first year of the acting academy. And he's talking to me, and he looked like his teeth were brown, and he looked pretty beat up for like 27 years old. And he's been full-time acting, and he said, I had my best year, and he made like $12,000, right? And he was living pretty hard, but he was living as a full artist. And I was like, can I do that? Because I was thinking, can I grind like that? And at the same time, I was doing well in the restaurant, and they keep asking me to manage and keep asking me to manage. And then I just took the management position, started putting my heart and my effort and energy into that rather than into what I was supposed to be doing. And then, yeah, and then I had to do this. And now I come back at 40 and I make a switch then, right? So maybe it's the path I'm supposed to have taken, but at that time, I guess I'm just disappointed that I gave up as easily as I did back then. Because I think that you can do anything you want to do. Now, I'm not trying to get you, but if you just continue trying, you're gonna get there.
That's right.
But that takes a big amount of cojones, or whatever you want to call it. Like, that takes to be able to just stick through and grind it out. If you don't quit, you're going to get there. If you don't quit, you're going to get there. Just remember that.
There's
You're
a lot of
20
truth
right
to that,
now.
man.
20 whatever. You're 24. If you don't quit, you're going to get there.
That's right.
But that's
There's
the
a lot
crazy
of
thing.
truth to
All
that.
those cheesy things, all those cheesy things on Instagram, all that stuff. It's the truth.
Yeah.
I promise you it's the truth. If you love what you do, even the challenges
Yeah.
are okay to go
Yeah.
through. Even living in a forest, you're okay with that. Or how many times I've called you and you're like, I'm out in in this cold lake and I'm testing this fishing lure, and to me that would just be hell. But to you, you could spend 7 hours out there trying to fix this, and you're okay with it. Do you know what I mean? So if you love what you do, you will eventually succeed in whatever it is that you, and it's a promise. Like, truly, it is the universe's promise to you.
I don't think every story has a happy ending. Call me Negative Nancy. I don't think every story has a happy ending, but what he says is extremely accurate. You keep pounding on that, no matter how many failures you take, you get it.
You're going to get
Good
there.
or bad, whatever you wanted, you keep at it, you get it. You sacrifice, you take the blows, you take the low pay, you take whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But in the end, 99% you will achieve it.
Yeah.
But if you start to waver, say, okay, I want to do this, and then you're going to flip over to this, you're just left in the water. And this is not the world to be in at a latter age and you're not sure what you're doing or where you're going, you're pooched.
A friend of ours, my friend who I work with now, he never had a backup plan. I used to look at him, he was 36 and he was bartending still, but he was trying to become a director and make movies. And and at that time I was running restaurants and an operations manager for this business, and I was doing pretty well. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Like, you're getting 36, 37, 38. Like, are you going to continue doing this? Like, what's your backup? And he's like, if I have a backup plan, that means I'm not putting my full effort forward. If I've got this sitting there, then I can't have a backup plan. I got to have it forward. He also at that point was, had a mattress on the floor because he goes, that gets me up a little bit earlier each day because I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor. And lo and behold, turns, you keep grinding and all those sequences and all the little things that add up to a point where they launch something, which launches something and launches something. And now we're starting to see angels, right? And that's, and those little moments just are starting to line up where you know that you're on the right path.
Yeah, and that's key too. You know you're on the right path when doors keep opening. If doors keep slamming shut in your face, then you're not on the right path, in my humble opinion. I think we all say, we think that we want to take the thing that we love doing, I don't care what it is, and we're going to make that our career. But the truth is you should be doing that which you do effortlessly with excellence. And we say that to each other, like, oh my God, you tell stories really great. You should be an actor, or you cook really well. You should be a chef because you do it so effortlessly. So therefore you create fishing lures. You do it effortlessly. Yes, there's struggle and there's challenges of marketing and how do I do that, but it's all worth it. Do you know what I mean? So I think that definitely to negate sort of everybody doesn't make it. I think that
not everybody doesn't make it, but not every story has a happy ending. And I think, I don't know.
Well, let's ask Rena. Rena, would your 18 self be proud of who you are today?
A wonderful ending? I don't know.
Can't really. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just career-wise, but just who I've become as a individual. So the full package would be very proud. Yes.
Oh yeah, the full package, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think the obsession is? Like we talk about, I hear people say, oh my God, when I retire, I'm going to retire, I retire. And I find it fascinating that people's focus is our generation's focus is so much on retirement. Either like, is it that you don't love what you're doing and you just can't wait to just pack it all up and go and live on a beach or in a camper or in a park? Or whatever it is that you're going to do. Whatever it is, like, what are your thoughts for your retirement at some point? And like, where do you guys see that happening, or when do you see that happening?
Here's a great litmus test for if you're on the right path. Because I haven't thought about retirement. And I don't see myself retiring from this job. I see myself doing it at the pace with which I want to do. I want to make a movie a year, or maybe even one every 2 years. But I could do that till I could do what I'm doing, maybe not the production management piece, but if I can get more into the creative side of it, I could do that till I was 75 and be completely happy. Do a movie a year, one every 2 years, something that you're passionate about, something that lights you up. Yeah. Whereas if it was 3 years ago and I was in the restaurants, it'd be like, get me out of here. And I want to be away from it, because I think that the job that I'm in affords me the ability to make life look like retirement all the time. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
What's your thoughts, Chico?
Retirement. I haven't thought too much about it because I think I was always in survival mode.
Well, when you're 25, you don't need to.
How about right now?
Right now, I think I honestly, in the IT world, it's very fast-paced. And like I mentioned earlier, you get exhausted really at some point where I'm thinking, okay, I should start thinking what I can do, that's going to be a bit on the stable side, as it were, not too much of the roller coaster. And maybe then when I can retire on that. So maybe voiceovers.
I'm not joking. You could read the dictionary and people would listen to it.
Yeah, so but it's something, we were talking about this earlier actually with the girls, that at this retirement is not something we think about a lot, but because I think we are so used to always being on the go. So even when we retire from our current occupations, we would still want something that will going to keep us going somehow further down the line. Yeah.
Rupi?
I think I agree with Chico. I think it's not necessarily, I think the term retirement, we think of it differently now. It's not so much, okay, I'm going to quit, not do my job anymore. I'm going to be sitting at home and doing nothing. It's more, when I think of retirement, I think, okay, when I'm in a position where I can afford to maybe scale back a bit, you work a little less and you do, you might have enough money put away that you can start that dream business that you've been thinking of, the kids are older and they don't need you as much and your priorities shift.
Yeah.
For me, that to me is retirement. But I would still be doing something and, maybe just shift my focus a little.
On something else.
Yeah.
And how about you, Kim?
I'm a subscriber to the Book of Josh. If you're loving what you're doing, you pace yourself in that. You do a little bit less, but you're still doing. I think if you're working a 9-to-5 job or you're just on the grindstone, you want that to end at some point. You want that. I can't imagine you ever wanting to end what you're doing. You're in your family business, you're designing stuff, you're doing whatever. You're loving it. Maybe you just scale it back a little bit.
I love it, but my husband doesn't understand it because he's from the corporate world. So retirement is very important to him. And he doesn't, he's like, because my dad is 86, around there. He comes to work every day still. He lives, breathes, eats, everything is his work. And it's so sad to me because they worked so hard all their lives. They've given us everything, and they haven't had a chance to enjoy it. They don't travel. They both have had knee replacement surgeries, hip replacements, and yet they're still at the store. I was telling, my dad went to the movies last week or 2 weeks ago, and he was saying it so proudly, this is the first movie I've seen in 25 years. And I'm like, that's nothing to be proud of. I actually feel sad for you. But that's their world. And my husband's like, oh, so are you going to live and die in your store like your dad? And I'm like, no, I'm not my parents. I'm all about balance. But I don't see myself completely retiring. I'm a type I need to keep busy. I need, no matter what it is. And I love what I do. So scaling back, I think, is the good balance.
Yeah.
But can I ask, do your parents love what they do? And is that why they're at the store every day?
I don't think it's love. I think it's the control aspect. My dad he can't let go. It's time. It's time for him to let go.
It was time a while ago.
It was a time, he has to. It's his baby. He will not, you've been to our store. The way my dad does things and the way even my brother, my brother is very opposite to me. I'm a very social, I believe first impressions are lasting impressions. I believe in, hi, how are you? Can I help you? I believe in all those stuff. They don't believe in that stuff. Just come in, give me your money and go. I'm not like that. Yeah. So I just think where I'm just just letting go is very difficult. He'll never let go. He's actually said, I'll die in the store. It's just
lovely.
That's the way I've been brought up, and that's what my husband fears is are you gonna? I'm like, no, that's not me. I don't think I won't fully retire, but I know how to balance everything out.
I think also retirement is different for our generation, is that we can work from Maui, we can work from a trip. We can work from
depending on your work.
Yeah,
depending on the work. You can you can design, you can go when I think about doing a movie, I would do the prep for it in another, it would be in another country. Or if I was doing lures, I would take a 3-month trip to China with 1 or 2 weeks worth of work and then travel. You know what I mean? That sounds just fine to me. Do you know? And having some purpose. I think that they say that, a lot of people die early when they retire early and they don't have the purpose. Like what's the point of going forward? And I mean, I don't want to grind till I'm 86, but I wouldn't mind just making sure I walk on set and you know, get some kids to stand up a little straighter when I walk by, and you know, have an idea,
Crack a whip here and there.
you know, have an idea, like, you know what I mean? Go in and have some things and know, like, there's a gentleman, John Scott, from, he does all the horse work in Alberta. He was from The Unforgiven. He did a movie called Heaven and Earth it was 1,000 horses, and he was the wrangler. So he owns CL Ranch out here. I just had the pleasure of working with him. He's in his 80s. He's as sharp as a frickin' tack. The man is on it. He can read a script and break it down and talk like it was incredible. And, you know, him and I are just having one of those, he's pulled up and we're on a field in Drumheller and there's horses running in the background and he's looking out the window at me and we're having just a really man-to-man conversation. He's like, I said, what are you doing out here still? He says, I just love Westerns. So just that moment, and he's in his 80s and he's smart and he's out in the field and he's supplying work to these people and he's taking care of them and it's going, he's not working. It is work,
Right, but he's,
It's not work for him.
but it's not a grind, right?
Yeah.
Keeps him going.
It keeps him going.
Doing what you love.
I just love Westerns. And it was just this beautiful little succinct moment where you're like, okay, I get you.
Riddle me this, Riddler. If retirement is a choice, if you're cool like that and you got dough, you can retire, you don't have to retire. Does having a significant other or somebody of value like that, a partner, does that influence it anyways? Like, I want to quit this
Well, it
work.
seems like it does
and I want to
here.
get home to her, you know what I mean? Or him, or whatever the case may be.
it does.
Caller one, you're on the air. Go.
No, as I said, like we have arguments about this all the time, because for instance, my husband's parents are both retired. Dad was an engineer and his mom was a nurse. So, but they're very active. They help with our kids. They travel. They do everything. So that kind of retirement is fine. I personally wouldn't be. I would get bored. Like, honestly, I would get bored. He doesn't see it that way. He wants to go travel and et cetera, et cetera. And he fears that, oh, will I be a partner at that stage of our life? Or will I be a slave to the store, as he calls it? But I'm not a slave to the store. That's not my choice. That's my parents' choice, because that's all they know. And yeah, like they don't have to come. My dad does not have to. He's at the store between 12:30 and 1, and he'll stay there till 7 o'clock. He does not have to do that. He can come for a few. That's fine. We're never like, it's fine. But
How many times has your dad bailed you out in the last 10 years because you really needed him on the floor? Probably not at all.
no,
Yeah.
I don't want him to be. Trust me, I can handle it.
Yeah, I can handle it.
No, he
Yeah, I
doesn't
know,
need to.
but that's the one.
He thinks he can.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I find it. I mean, that's not my life. Like, I can never do that. There's no way in hell. I don't even know what my husband's like, you should probably have a conversation with your brother in regards to what's going to happen with the family business, because after us, my daughters, there's no way they're not going to take over it. I don't see my brother's children taking over it. So what's going to happen to Rena Fabric
Put me in, coach.
Go for it.
That's my retirement plan.
You're going to sell South Asian clothing.
Yeah.
I could sell ketchup popsicles to women in white gloves. I don't know.
I think, though, if you really love what you do, I think that retirement is not even an option, because and I think that when people retire early, it almost accelerates the aging process.
It does.
Especially if you don't have a group of friends, you don't have, like, I go to play ringette or you know,
becomes
whatever.
isolating and very depressing.
Very
I think.
isolating.
Yeah.
But also grinding when you're older because you're behind ages the shit out of you too, because you know someone that's been in something hard labor and they're doing it for a long time, and there's not a way out of it. Because I mean, I'm still grinding. I'm 47 and I'm like, I'd love for it to get a little easier at some point here. I know I change careers and go, but I mean, it'd be great. It'd be really great. If that happened, if anyone's listening, just took a little pressure off, made it a little easier for me.
And Tika, do you feel like you need to keep going, grind harder in order to reach higher planes in your career? Like whatever those are, you know, in terms of like for a restaurant, you'd be like waiter and then bartender and whatever the accelerated sort of, how do you feel about that?
So when I got into, after I got into IT in 2000 and, oh gosh, the math is refusing. Around 2006, when I got into this IT consulting, software development to be precise, I was working, but my focus was my children. So I actually put my career on ice. I stayed stagnant. No promotion, nothing. I was just a consultant. I didn't want to do anything further. And with my job, you're traveling the world. I can be in Bahrain for 2 years implementing a system. I can be in Saudi Arabia for another year, come back for 2 months, and I'm in Hawaii, you know, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of job that I have. But I chose jobs that did not take me everywhere because I had to be home for my children. And now that they are grown, they are no longer kids, we are now housemates, I am pressing and pushing that career. And I want to see how far I can go with it. I have been given, with the firm I'm working for is amazing. I don't know whether I did well or just angels, I don't know, but I have had such great reception and I am moving higher and higher in the career and I want to push as much as I can. Not for self-gratification, but just the fact that I've had the chance. I'm still young enough to go as much as high as I can. So that by the time I retire or, you know, or even decide to just do consulting as a freelancer, which is another way that I can retire in this field. I don't need to be full-time employed, but I can be the consultant's consultant, if as it were. They can always come to me and say, so how did you do this 10 years ago? That kind of thing. So I want to push, yes, as much as I can.
I have a new goal now. It's find a sugar mama who's pushing
This
really
story
hard.
inspired
Yeah, who's working really hard in her.
There's a couple of those out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
bring me along.
Yeah, so that's what I'm up to, and yeah, it's going great. I'm enjoying it, and yeah, that's the dream.
And is it tiring or do you ever go, oh my God, this is enough, right? Because what you're going to achieve is going to be very challenging in terms of like you're making, and you already have made much ground in terms of all the promotions that you've had in the recent years.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is tiring. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't get the same thing all the time. So it's hard to get bored with my job. Honestly, it's a new challenge every day, exciting. Yes, there are times when you're like, I do not understand. Is it my age? What's going on? But eventually you get there. You press enough, hard enough, you'll get there, you succeed. And yeah, it's, okay, yes and no. There are times when you say, you know what, I might be too old for this. Because you've got these 20-year-olds coming in with their computer science degrees, and they're fresh blood and all that. So
You got them. No. You got them, though. Because they're... Oh, I can't say anything with this amount of young people in here. You're all lovely. You got them, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going. It's okay.
But there's an advantage, right? Like even, for example, I went back to university in my 40s. When you think about it, you're thinking about all the negatives. I was thinking about all the negatives. Like, how am I going to do this? I'm surrounded by 20-year-olds. They are far ahead in media, in creating stories, and they just came out of grade 12 and they're continuing their education. I'm going back as a dinosaur, and how am I going to manage this? But it goes back to, I really wanted to do this.
Yes.
You know, I volunteer and I love listening to people's stories and where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing. So to translate that into media, to me, was the end game. So for example, my biggest challenge was passing math. In university, it was called statistical reasoning. And this stupid class was so hard because I totally forgot math,
Yeah,
Rena. I had no
yeah.
idea what I was doing. And I remember it was the pandemic at the time, and I remember I had no difficulty talking to professors, and I was like, listen, after you introduced yourself, everything else you said for the next 40 minutes, I had no idea. It was like you're speaking a different language. And he said to me, and I quote, just do the first chapter and everything will be fine. I can't do the first chapter. All I can do is write my name. So lo and behold, I had to drop out of that class and then take it again. Again, it was just as difficult. Dropped out of that class again. And then the third time, finally, I don't know how, again, it's maybe the angels we were talking about, but I finally passed that class because I really, really wanted to do something and finish this university degree against all odds, you know? So that passion just kept me going and kept me
Think
going.
about the angels that got you sitting here. Like, think about how it all met. Like, you came and worked as a for free intern.
Yes.
Right? But then that gets you the connections to get to the next spot, which then gets you to the next spot, which then has you sitting in a lovely little chair and
Hosting a show.
the young ones are holding the camera.
Yeah.
Right? You know
And
what
that
I
was
mean?
the key, right?
Right. And that was the thing, is that those moments those are your angel piece, right? Like that's your.
And you have to recognize that. You
Yeah.
can't just say, like, I remember when we were coming up for internships post-pandemic, there wasn't a lot on the board. Not many companies were willing to pay because they were just coming out of the pandemic too. What do you expect these guys to do? And at the time I had received some great advice. Go apply for what's on the board, but you go find it yourself. Don't wait. So I was
You annoyingly found it with
talked
us.
to people. I
Yeah.
talked to this guy named Tom Benz. He's like, I'm going to give you 3 more connections. And out of those 3, 2 producers came back. I sat down with the amazing Jason Wan Lim, who is Josh's best friend and a very, very prestigious producer here. He did Black Summer. And we talked, and I was so impressed by his story. I was so impressed by his, like, how he did what he did. And I just said, I go, can I have an internship with you? He's like, sure. And I didn't talk about money because it wasn't about the money. I had a feeling like if I could just be in the space where this guy was doing his magic, I would learn. And I did learn. And I met amazing people who are, ironically, you know, helping me here today.
Where's the other little one over there?
But, and then, you know, did the same thing that he did. He went back to SAIT or wherever he did his
So he
education.
went to SAIT at, like 38 years old. He went to SAIT. And so Kyle Cooper, he met at that time he could have this perspective. He's 40 years old and he sees a bunch of talented young people. And he's like, I can either fight them or I can bring them with me. And Kyle, he's like, this is the smartest guy of this year. And Kyle is still his right-hand man 13 years later.
Yeah.
Right? And you probably have
I took the exact same page
You probably
out of
have a
his book.
right-hand person sitting out here right now, right? You know what I mean?
Many,
Right,
because
right.
I was able to sit in the back of that classroom and watch who was coming in on time, who was enthusiastic about being here, who was on mommy and daddy's money and didn't really give a crap about being here. You could tell the attitude and just the quality of their work, you know, and who they chose partners. There's like I kept saying, like, they asked me to come and talk at the internship because they, you know, I got my own internship. And they said, we want you to come and talk at this class. And the one thing I said is networking. You guys are not in university to make friends. You are here to network. As soon as you walk in that classroom, as soon as you walk in the doors, the lady at Tim Hortons, be kind to your professors, be kind to everybody, because you have no idea amongst all these students who's going to be your boss. I was actually looking around thinking that guy's going to make it. I'm going to go and work with that guy because he's so dedicated. This guy's editing is outstanding. This guy is such an amazing public speaker. And ironically, here we are, and all those people are on set, and they're, you know, all doing amazing work. And so it was the lesson learned from Polyscope. So it's really just an amazing pay it forward.
The thing you can teach someone to edit, and the people are going to have abilities.
Yeah.
And you can teach someone about public speaking; they're going to have natural abilities. But you can't teach people to give.
Yes.
So if you can surround yourself with people that'll give, you can take over the world.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that is the big piece that we've always been trying to do, and we have a no policy, and if you're not and you're working with us, I'm not going to be the one that moves you out. The team is going to be the one that moves you out, and so just make sure that if you're looking around the room, you know who's pushing hard.
So what is your advice then for older or younger people who are maybe stuck in a situation where they don't know what they want to do in university. Am I in the place where I'm supposed to be? Or they're in a career, or they're our age and they're in a career and they're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. What would you guys say that your advice after hearing this, and of course your own life experiences, how would you sum that up? Rena, you take it away.
Just do what makes you happy and fulfills you. Because life is so short and you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you just don't. So just, if you have a path and you want to do it, just go for it and don't listen to the outside noise. Like, just don't do that. Don't get influenced by anyone and just go with your path. Mm-hmm. And don't compare yourself to anyone. If you make minimum wage but you're happy, good for you. I don't like people who compare themselves to X, Y, and Z. I just don't get that. Just, if you're happy with minimum wage and you're fulfilled with your lifestyle, I applaud you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what life is all about.
Cam?
If you don't have a path, I don't know about just jumping in and just going through the motions because everybody else is, and I don't want to fall behind. So I'm just going to do a psych degree for 3-4 years, and you come out and your career ends up the farthest thing from, and not even related to your psych degree. So if you have to take a breather after school and say, which way do I go in university? Which path do I choose? Which one of these paths? Which you're gonna dig your heels in, you're gonna die on that hill, you're going for it. But if you don't know your path, maybe just push pause, get a breather, find your path, experience the world, go do a little traveling or whatever the case may be. Because doing 4 years of university for something that you didn't really think about or care about, or everybody else is doing it, that's not gonna help you either down the road. So if you took a year or a few months or something like that, just to really find yourself in your direction, just to realign yourself, then dive into it. I don't think that's a bad idea versus just running with the cattle in a direction, but you don't have the same vigor or zest inside you to do that. You're just doing it because everybody else is, right?
And wasting money at the time.
And then a lot of times people got to go back to school.
Yeah.
I went back to school when I was 28, 29, right? So it's easier, just took a break back in your late teens or 20s or whatever and figure out what path you want and then get back on it. But you don't have to keep running through it if you have no direction, because you'll end up nowhere, because that's where you're running.
Chico?
I think life has got seasons. There are times when you can be in a certain career for a certain reason, for that season that you're in your life. So I don't want anybody to feel bad for changing their career or feeling bad or feeling uncomfortable in the situation that they're in. You are in there for a reason. There are things you're going to learn there. There are things you learned in the restaurant business that have made you a better person in the film business, unrelated as it may seem, but there are things you picked up from there. There are things you got from medicine. That right now they're not exactly there in retail, but somehow they made you a better person. So don't feel bad about changing, going 180. I came from interior design to IT, like day and night, right? So don't feel bad that you're now changing and you don't feel good about, you're not feeling this anymore and you want to change and try something else new. Go right ahead, do it. It's never too late, as long as it's the drive is there and you want to make that sacrifice. Go right ahead and do it. That's my advice.
Josh, you want to beat that?
I think life
have to talk like
has
Chico, though.
seasons.
For a reason.
There
There you go. The Seuss moment right there. Go ahead, Josh.
I can't believe you stole my seasons line. We were talking about that downstairs, and then she's like, I think life has seasons.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Come on. Stealing my thunder.
I'll just speak from a place that I know, which is changing careers and a path in your 40s. It's worth it if you're in a spot where you're living life to be good or to get by, because that'll catch up with you. So a little bit backwards to go a whole lot forwards has been the benefit. I kind of alluded to it, but that was the lowest point in my life when I was finishing my career. I was the lowest I'd ever been. As a happy-go-lucky guy, I had some dark thoughts. And that was the hardest thing. And the only thing that changed out of that is the realization that I couldn't continue doing things for the sake of doing them, either pathless or whatever. I had to do something that lit me up, that was intentional and gave me purpose. So find the way to, I mean, you can't go out in the street. I guess you can go live in a forest. We just found that out tonight. But I mean, like I'm not saying quit everything and go and do it, but you put yourself on a path to start to do the things that you want to do.
That's right.
Because man alive, it's easier to get up in the morning. Every breath I take feels like it's freer. Like those moments, it's hard to even put myself in the position of the person that was there. So at the end of the day, it does have seasons.
For a reason. For a reason, Josh. Don't forget the other line. We really covered a lot today, from changing careers midway in life to retirement. Changing your careers as a 40-plus-year-old is such a huge risk, so I really want to thank everyone here for sharing their thoughts, ideas, and stories. I think people our age who might be thinking about changing your career or your retirement plans will definitely learn a lot about this, especially when we talked about the difficulties and the fear of changing careers. You have all been so wonderful, and I am very grateful to have you all here. We'll catch you again on another episode of the Gen Xperience with Aisha.
Down and you're out, you're surviving, you tell you somehow, I know everything gon' be alright. Not a worry, you're a cloud in the sky. Let those positive rays shine down from above. No hate, no fear, just bundles of love. I know everything gon' be alright. Not a worry, you're a cloud in the sky. Let those positive rays shine down from above. No hate, no fear, just bundles of love. You can overcome any problem that comes your way by faith. Life is hard, I know. Bring it on, let it show that the love wasn't all the way. When you feel like giving up, let the love come in. When you feel you ain't enough, let the love wash over. When you don't know where to turn, I'll be standing there.